The first question I have for you is, do
Okay.
I call you Hiro or Tokyo Hero?
Normally Hero.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Hiro, it's an honor to be speaking with you
Oh,
because
thank you.
I love your artwork. I'm
Thank
also a
you.
big Sapporo guy on top of that. And there's so much I want to ask you today. Is it okay if we
Sure.
talk a little music first?
Oh yeah, of course. No problem.
Okay, so your credits include a lot of my favorite groups, the Foo Fighters, Motorhead,
Right.
Dokken, so many bands. But
Right.
what's the first band that you did work for?
Oh shit. Like I grew up in more like a punk rock industry. So I believe who was it? Like tattoo wise or like a more like merchandise wise?
Well, that's actually a very good question that you asked me because usually when I interview a tattoo artist, yesterday I spoke with Dylan Forte. All
Okay.
they're pretty much doing is tattoo art, but you've also done art design and collaborate.
Right.
So any band you worked with, tattoos or artwork.
Mm, I'm pretty sure like I did like a lot of LA local bands back in the day. Like I tattooed like NoFX, you know, drummer Smelly is like my mentor. So also like a Bad Religion. Yeah, so I worship those guys since I was a kid. So
So every
I think
band on Epitaph Records or Fat Records you worked with.
if they don't want to pay fucking expensive, I, I was a young kid. I was like a sparky. I want to do it. I want to do it. And also like they were like like a punk rock or heavy metals, like, like always, like the older people try to help the younger people. So, like those guys, like, hey, Hero, you want to do some design for us? Kind of thing.
Mhm.
So, like, everybody's like, really nice to me. So, I don't remember exactly who was my first, but I did like a lot of designs, like, small bands, bigger bands, you know.
Right. Did
Yeah.
did most of your success come after you moved to California?
Actually, funny you said that. So back in the day, so I came here to be a tattooer. So I learned tattoo from Bob Roberts, like my
Mhm.
teacher, who he did the Stray Cats logo.
Mhm.
He tattooed like Soccer So Power, Little Caesar. You can name it, like so many like heavy metal punk rock bands.
Yeah.
And
I,
anyway,
I
so
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I remember Little Caesar. I'm wearing a Kiss shirt, so I know who you're
uh
talking about.
okay, cool. Right
Yeah.
on. So like Ron's like one of my, great friend. So anyway, so back in the day before the iPhone, when you visit other country, you have to pay like so much money to use your own phone in a
Yes.
foreign country. So a lot of bands doesn't want to do it. So like I met like so many musicians and so many crews, in the States. So they were like, okay, I'm gonna keep your numbers or whatever. So like every time when I was, I didn't have a visa, so I was back and forth back in the day. Then I was in Japan, some promoter, translator, whoever called, like, hey, are you Hero? Like, yeah, this is him, and so and so gave me your phone number. Then he's in town, so he wants to get tattooed or he wants to see you. So you want to come to the show, kind of thing. So like when I go to the show, I saw like my old friends, and he introduced his friend, or if he's a crew, he's gonna introduce me like his boss, which is like
Mhm.
musicians. So like, oh yeah, I want to get tattooed. So back in the day, like not much tattoo didn't speak English in Japan. So like promoters and translators that go, oh, I found a good guy because I don't need to stay all night long at the tattoo shop, So like since then, like like those translators and everybody kept my phone number. So every time, like, hey, my clients want to get tattooed, my clients want to get tattooed. So so I could tattoo a lot of the musicians and actors or actress who I never ever expect
Mhm.
in Japan. But once I came back here, like everybody remember me, and oh, you're the guy tattooed Rancid, Offspring, whatever. So a lot of fans want to get tattooed. Also, like oh, you're the kids from Bob Roberts. Do you remember me? Like I got tattooed by you in the '90s. Blah blah blah. So like a lot of people like try to get tattooed by me, which is like I really appreciate it.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's how. So like I got my name is getting bigger because of Japan for sure. Luckily, like not much speaking people speak English. Like Japan's like one of a funny country. Like everybody loves Europe, everybody loves America, but they love culture, but not language. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
that makes sense to me, and we'll come back to that topic in a little bit.
Yeah,
First, I want to talk a little bit about Sapporo because the Sapporo team generously connected me with you. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
long did it take for you to create the piece of art that is seen on the Sapporo bottle?
Honestly, so much pressure. Like first, like a Sapporo, one of a guy emailed me. I opened it up. I thought it like a scam. You know what I mean? Like I'm like a Japanese guy tattooed. Like not much Japanese. I thought like not much Japanese company doesn't like tattoos. You know. So when I was in Japan, like I never ever get an offer from a Japanese company.
Hmm.
Even like I tattoo like Foo Fighters. I did Motorhead design.
Mhm.
Also like I just do the design for like a Man with a Mission, like which is like one of the
Oh,
biggest Japanese
yes.
rock band.
I've interviewed a Man on a Mission. They're
Oh,
starting to
okay.
get a little bigger in the United States now, playing to
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
200,000 people a night.
Yeah, they were like super close with me. So, but still Japanese companies like, tattoo guy. So I thought like email was scam. Then I asked my wife, like, is this legit? What do you think? And she's like, oh my fucking God, this is real. So that made me so happy and I got so much anxiety.
Mhm.
I'm like, holy shit, this is like one of the biggest project in my career, you know? So like, especially dragon, because I learned tattooing in the States. So
Mhm.
back in the day, like I tattooed like a lot of Sailor Jerry, American traditional dragons. So, then I went back to Japan and like, I visited like so many Japanese master tattooers and kind of they showed me how to draw dragons and stuff. So I'm like American dude just visiting Japan and learn some Japanese thing.
Uh,
Luckily, like I've been doing the same thing like 30 years. So like, I was able to draw something, but like, it's like I like this shape. Oh, maybe not this. Maybe like change the arm, change the position. Then one day I'm like, you know what? I think done. I should send it to Sapporo. Otherwise, like never ending. Yeah.
so,
So
so was Sapporo the first time that you'd collaborated with a major brand?
um I did like, some like Adidas or Yamaha guitar, but everything's in the US,
Hmm.
you know. Yeah, Japan's I don't know, like I don't yeah, but like Sapporo is like one of the big like the biggest beer company in Japan.
Yeah.
Then my dad always, because in Japan's different with the US. So, back in the day, my dad asked me like, hey, go to the store to give me a cigarette, give me a beer. Then, back in the day in the 80s, like, it was okay to kids
Yeah.
come to the store to get the cigarette for dad or, beer for the kid, mom and dad. So I always, like, he always particular tell me, like, hey, give me a Sapporo.
Sure.
Yes. So I was like, holy shit. So I immediately called my dad, like, hey, look, guess what? I'm doing like a design for Sapporo beer. He's like, yeah, fool shit. Um, then I showed like, like designs that, I'm like, holy shit, like
Yeah, it's
So
a big deal.
yeah, so this is like one of the like really big project in my career for sure.
I understand. But back to the music. The bands, some of the bands you've worked with have sold tens of millions of albums. And
Hmm.
it's funny to see the big divide between music and food, that you could be a famous food, but that's a different level of fame than famous bands. So
Right.
what you're describing right there, you know, the old stereotype of that band is big in Japan. Like we talk about Cheap Trick, how when
Uh,
Budokan happened, they were not famous in the US and they were huge in Japan. You have the
right.
reverse thing happen. You're huge in America.
Right.
Yeah. So I think it's
Yeah.
kind of a blessing.
Like my thing was like, I don't know. I'm always obsessed with UK and US culture since I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I mean, I shouldn't say this, but I really didn't like Japanese rock music when I grew up.
You weren't a
Everybody saying
Loudest fan?
Loudness was great, but to me, like like hey, we have Iron Maiden. Like I feel like I'm like a British kid. you know?
I understand. I wanted to be British too when I was a kid.
Yeah. Well, like but like funny thing is like a lot of the people I grew up with in the school, they listen to Japanese rock music, but everything that singers, they always hired whiny ass singers. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, why is like like some punk bands, but like still singing like I'm like, oh, come on.
Well,
So so like I'm always obsessed with America. Then what this story goes to? Like, what was the question?
oh, I
I
was
was
talking about how instead of being big in Japan, you're big in the
Oh
US.
yeah.
You
So
got the
basically,
reverse Cheap Trick.
yeah. So basically, like then I came to here. Then I didn't know there's like a Japanese American exist in the world.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I thought America only like black people. I mean African American and white people. Even I didn't know like Mexican exist in the states because
Right.
I was like a ignorant kid. So first time, like I used to hang out at the tattoo shop, and one of them, my boss's son's friend, he's like a really famous painter in LA now. Guy named is Gajin. He looks Japanese more than me. He's a little bit short, but if you close your eyes, it's hard to tell he's white or he's Asian or like he spoke like perfect. Of course, he grew up in the States, so. But that was a culture shock. And I'm like, holy shit, there's an Asian guy speak perfect English. Because all I knew was like Jackie Chan. I grew up with like some weird accent English. So
Right.
I was like, holy shit. Then also he speaks Japanese. And first thing the guy asked him, like, like, no, he said, like, oh, you don't speak much English, huh? Like, yeah, like I came to here first time. This is my first time. So he kind of helped me out. Like, if you want to tell your teacher, Bob, something, I can translate, but this is only one time. Then I'm like, yeah, I wish I can be like you. Then you should learn English a little bit more, you know? Because, nowadays, like, stupid racism going on. Like, if you're in America, speak English kind of thing. But back in the day, he was kind of more like a care about me
Yeah.
because he felt like this Japanese kids love this kind of culture, this city kind of thing.
Yeah.
So since then, like I try not to make a Japanese friend because once I find a Japanese friend, I start speaking Japanese. So like I will never ever learn English.
Right.
So even like when I go back to Japan, like I could make money with a tattoo when you apprentice. So I have to get the blue collar job like a construction worker. So, like 5 in the morning, go to the, construction site and work exhausted, came back in a draw sketch or drawing,
Hmm.
painting. So even like when I watch, VCR era, when I watch like any like US movie, I have to put the duct tape on the screen to cover the
For practice, yeah.
subtitles. Also, like we have like it's called Far East Network for like
Hmm.
US service radio station for US service people.
Hmm.
So like I was keep listening to I had no idea what the hell they are talking about, but I thought like, wow, this is so America, you know. So I'm always focused everything in the States. So I never ever tried to get any fame or success in Japan. I gave up once I got tattooed, you know. Because
Sure.
if you have a tattoo, you can't get the job in the McDonald's either in Japan. You know,
Right.
now, I'm not sure nowadays, but back in the day,
Nowadays, if it's hidden, but do you
yeah.
have time for me to ask you one more question or topic, or do you have to go?
No, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, so one other thing that I'm curious about is one of my favorite bands in the world is Van Halen. And
Okay.
the singer of Van Halen, David Lee Roth, for a
Hmm.
few years was living in Japan, and one of his main goals was to get his full body tattooed, which he did through Horiyoshi.
Yeah, yeah.
And more people that I speak with find out that David Lee Roth assimilated into Japanese culture, so he became friends with Konoshiki. And he became just
Oh, I
basically
saw the YouTube.
yes. So he
Yeah,
became
yeah,
like
yeah.
Tokyo Dave. Now I'm wondering,
Right.
you're a music guy, you're a tattoo guy. Were there any run-ins or connections to Van Halen for you?
Um, when I was kids, I thought of Van Halen was like California means Van Halen.
Yeah.
Like blonde girls, palm trees, and the oceans, and the party guitar and the party music. You know, so unfortunately, I gave up to try to play like Eddie, but Van Halen was like one of like my favorite bands since I was a kid. Definitely, I have a Van Halen tattoo. Even
Oh,
I'm a punk rocker. You can't
so
deny that band.
no, you can't. So
Yeah.
no David Lee Roth interactions for you. You avoided him because you were here in California.
I mean, like I went to his show, but like unfortunately, like when I became like old enough to go to concert, he was already out from Van Halen.
Yeah.
Then he was with like Steve Vai and Greg Bissonette, Billy.
Billy
You
Sheehan,
know,
you know your stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because he's a Yamaha guitar guy too. So I met him at the NAMs and stuff when I deal with the Yamaha guitar. So like I had no chance to see Van Halen. But I'm always more like a guitar guy,
Hmm.
so I'm always like Randy Rose more than Ozzy, you know, Eddie Van Halen more than Dave,
There.
like Easy Struggling or Slash more than Axel kind of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, Tokyo Hero, sir, what I've
yeah.
just learned is you have immaculate taste, amazing work ethic. It's great to see that when you say that you're going to do something, you do
Thank
something.
you.
So before I let you go, are we allowed to know what's next from you, or do we just have to keep following you on Instagram and that's how we know it's next?
So basically, I'm planning like I can't talk about it. I'm dealing with my managers. Like, we are planning some big thing in the 2024 with Sapporo. So we are
With
still talking. We're still talking about it. So, hopefully it's gonna happen. So
okay,
so I might see a lot of people in the States next year. Yeah.
okay.
Plus I just said my dream is that I'm gonna stay alive 2024.
I
Yeah.
think you're gonna be here for a long, long time, and I look forward to everything that's to come.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Paltrocast.